Are you ready to take a glimpse at the future? I am. I've been waiting for this. Hello. Happy eclipse season. I hope that you are having a marvelous, wonderful eclipse season. Um, did you buckle up with me back when we started? Because I hope you did so that you can float through this ascension with me. Let's go ahead and light our candle. If you remember this candle, it is from the new moon in Virgo that we did. And this is also a new moon in Virgo. If you remember, the first one happened in August on the 23rd. This one is reaching exactation on September 21st. So we have two new moons in the same sign, which doesn't happen often. It's really special and exciting. So we have this candle, and in the new moon video we did before, it literally blew out and stopped burning halfway, like part of the way through the video. So we're going to use the same candle to start us off. So if you're reaching this video right now, we're going to take a deep breath together, collect the energy, and then we're going to get started. So breathe out every last ounce of air that is stuck in your lungs, anything stagnant. Blow it out almost like an arrow. When you get to the bottom, hold and take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Sip at the top and breathe out. Happy eclipse season. We are about at the end of our eclipse season. So if you're watching this video during the time that I am posting it, I'm recording this. I literally hit record at 11:11. We love it. On September 16th. So we're not at exactation yet. I'm recording this early because I have a really busy month ahead and I want to uh, prepare and get these out early because I know some people are like me and like to prepare early. So if you are new here, get out a piece of paper. You're going to need it, or a notebook. It's best if it is a notebook. And let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready to take a glimpse at the future? I am. I've been waiting for this. This is happening on the 21st of September. It is a partial solar eclipse happening on the East Coast. If you're on the East Coast, it is happening at 3:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're on the West Coast, it is at 12:54 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is a really cool degree that we are reaching here, and we're going to talk about it in depth, but it is going to be at 28 degrees 59 minutes, which is 29 degrees. This is like the last degree of Virgo before we reach Libra. So this is a really important transit in so many ways. So let's just get into it. Okay. This new moon partial solar eclipse is taking place on the 21st. This is a Sunday. However, we have already been in eclipse season, so you have probably felt rocked by the universe since August 31st, and it's going to continue well into the end of September, probably through the end of September, actually. Depending on what placements you have. But the most potent this energy is going to be, of course, is 3 days before exactation and 3 days after. So you'll really start feeling it on September 18th. You'll probably notice the most spiritual testing during that phase, including on the 21st. But then blessings start to roll in after exactation and really after that eclipse energy has fully waned out. And that is going to be, uh, again, like probably the end of September. So again, the big potent part of this energy is going to be from Thursday through Wednesday with exactation or peak energy on Sunday, the 21st. Okay, so to get us started, I have a couple of different things that I'm going to have you do. There's like extra credit work for those of you who really want to elevate over the next 18 months. So you're going to want to divide or have more than one page. One page, you're going to be answering about the eclipse questions that I'm going to give you. That is extra credit, so you can skip it. But if you are somebody who likes to elevate and experience with awareness, that kind of ascension that comes with eclipses, I would highly recommend taking notes. But you do you, you do whatever you have energy for. If you only have that energy for this current transit, just focus on those. I always put chapters in the description, so you should be able to skip around pretty easily to make this guided reflection whatever it needs to be for you. So on the side where you're talking about this particular transit, you're going to write Piscean surrender. This is the first question I'm giving you. So I want you to answer this question. What did you recently surrender under the Piscean full moon eclipse? So this was the full moon eclipse that we just had in the sign of Pisces. And during our full moon circle, we actually did Eclipse Water. So I have two here that I got. And I'll tell you a little bit about what Eclipse Water is for, or really charging water. So just like with crystals, you can put your crystals out to charge under the moonlight. Most people do it under full moons, and they usually don't recommend doing it under eclipses, but I do a lot of eclipse magic, so I sometimes do. And I love to make water under the moon. So one of our attendees brought these beautiful gifts for everybody. Bless you. Uh, it was a couple. And so they filled all of the water vessels with beautiful purified water. And then they got a bunch of crystals from a local shop and tied them to each one. And then they sat out by our fire in the fire circle. It was so much fun. And we set intentions for this to guide and protect us through this eclipse journey. So I have two of them here. If you didn't make Eclipse Water, that's okay. Guess what? We have 18 months where we're doing Eclipse Waters. So if you don't have one, that's okay. Here's how you make them and what you can use them for. You can use them for so many different things, literally anything you use water for. Um, I'm worried to tell you one specific way to use it because I don't want to limit you. But for example, I have a money tree, right? I'm looking at it right now, sitting right over here in the yard. I plan to take some of the eclipse water and water intentionally my money tree. I'm going to move it, make sure the soil is happy, and set some intentions, maybe add another crystal at its base, put it more in the shade, and nurture it with some water. You can also whisper into your water with intentions and then drink the intentions because, as I mentioned in the last video, water holds memory. Okay, so let's just take a simple example, right? My money tree. If I'm watering my money tree with guidance and protection, right, I can add so much to that intention as I'm watering my plant, right? I can whisper, I talk to my plant. So I would whisper and talk to it and ask for guidance as money comes into my aura to be guided and protected as I expend that energy back into the universe. So as I spend money, as I earn money, may all the money come to me in protected ways, right? So that money doesn't come to me in ways that feel compromising to my ethics or values. So there's many ways to do this. Of course, drink it. You can cook with it. Sometimes I make a meal using the water, like pasta water, and then I reuse that water to water plants, for example. So it's really up to you. You can shower with this. You can mix it with Florida water and then do like cleansing of your house. You can literally clean your house with this. That's a very Virgo thing to do. Um, Literally anything that you use water for, you can, I think of so many ways all the time. You can add it to a bath, right? So you can in your bath, you can add your eclipse water. Okay, so once you have the answer to that question, and again, take as long as you need. You can stay on this slide, or if you're ready, you can move on with me. Okay, so we're going to get into the eclipse side. So now get into the eclipse part of your notebook. We're going to talk about different phases of the moon. We're going to be talking about the cyclical nature of healing. So stay with me. And again, if you are like, I want to come back to this eclipse information later, you can. You can always skip forward right here. But for those of you who are Virgo in the sense that you like to prepare and be organized and have all of that information nestled safely in your mind, stay with me. So we have the full moon. That's what we just talked about, right? We had a full moon eclipse. We made water. We right now, as I have been recording this, we've been in the middle of the cycle. So I have been experiencing, me personally, tension-filled moments where I have been just tested. My patience, for example, with like just technology and not feeling seen or heard and needing to give that to myself. So that's where we've been. This is the idea that change happens in cycles, that we don't expect change to happen all at once, but gradually over time. And that's why you get 18 months with an eclipse. It's a really cool way to like really look at healing. So I'm really excited to take you through it. And then we're heading towards the new moon. This is again, beginnings, setting intentions, opportunities for growth, transformation in baby steps. So it's manageable. Something even your own emotions might be in the shadows. So even if you feel like you have clarity, there might be something that you might not see or you might not be aware of, something unseen that is there. So those are like the three big moments we see with the moon, but there's really so more, and it happens in circles, right? So we start with a new moon, we wax, we get to the full moon, and then it wanes and becomes a new moon again. And really it goes between all of these cycles, right? So we start with the new moon, we wax to brilliance, and then we go back to the new moon. And really it happens in a circle. So if I had the technological patience, I could make this go on for infinity, right? Like I could literally, like if we are looking down the spinal cord of our moon healing, this is the middle of the spinal column, right? Like we're looking at it from the top down. So, this is, of course, how I imagine visually this taking place is we're spiraling up to whatever our highest self is. And we start at whatever the root once was. And it spirals up and forward. If you like this slide, you can stay longer, but let's move forward. We are about to enter the dark moon phase. So again, this is darkness. There might be things that you don't have clarity on. So moving forward might not be possible or might not be safe in this moment. It's better to sit in the darkness and to listen and reflect. Really think about like, what is it that I have been trying to release? What is it that I'm trying to cleanse from myself so that I can prepare for this new beginning? And set intentions. So as like this new moon is starting to show brilliance again, I can see my path and what intention do I want to take as I walk on that path. For this particular new moon in Virgo, we are at the point of crisis degree, which is an explanation for the word anaretic. What this means is we are in that final degree of Virgo. So like I said in the beginning, we started at 23 minutes into Virgo. We were not even into the first degree. So now we're ending looking at Virgo in this very late stage. So when we talk about decans, we had just started in the first decan of Virgo, had that new moon. We went around, had that full moon eclipse in Pisces, and are back around further into Virgo right before we enter Libra. So it's a really intense degree, often also known as the point of crisis. So I'll talk about that before we get into this slide fully. So an anaretic degree or point of crisis moment, think of it like I'm sure you've all had some experience like this where you've had a school project or an assignment or some task that you needed to do and you put it off. Maybe you procrastinated on it and you were at that point of crisis moment where if you did not step up and do this thing, then it would not happen. And you probably picked yourself up and you did that thing. That is that moment of crisis moment or the anaretic degree. So that's what we're going to be experiencing under this eclipse. You get 18 months to work on this set of uh, healing themes, I guess I should say. What's really exciting about this eclipse season that we've had is we just had our like guidance system just gave us cliff notes for our healing journey for the next 18 months. Here's what that looks like, right? And it, of course, happens right now in Virgo. So because we have those two new moons in Virgo, they act as bookends. It's almost like we're reading the first pages of a book and the last pages of a book. Okay? So, what is going to happen in the middle, right? This book is going to unfold over the next 18 months. But right now, we're given this opportunity by the universe and your guidance system, my guidance system, ours, to see the beginning of that book and the end. We were just in the Libra Aries eclipse season, meaning that the full and new moon eclipses landed on Libra and Aries. So if you were a Libra or Aries, you probably experienced some major elevation or movement in your life from April 2023 through May of 2025. So now that eclipse season is shifting so that our eclipses are happening on Virgo and Pisces. So the new moon and full moon will happen either in the season of Virgo or the season of Pisces, or in the sign of Virgo or Pisces. So this time is going to be for elevating whatever vital areas of life of focus for you are being highlighted in your chart. So we're going to talk about that later in the video. But basically, eclipses really signal really massive endings and massive new beginnings, which is really exciting. That's always the thing that everybody always tries to manifest, right? So this is usually the time where those manifestations start coming in, especially if you are aware and consciously moving through it. Then you really get to see it unfold. So what I'm going to have you do is on the part of your notes that are for your eclipse questions, whichever part of your book is for that, I want you to answer these 4 questions. Take as much time as you need, but what did you experience last fall? This was 9/17/24. So if you want to look, I look back in my photos on my phone and like look to see, what was happening for me. And that kind of tells you what to expect. So that was like a foreshadowing experience. Let me explain. When we had last fall's eclipse season, we had one of our first eclipses in the Virgo Pisces axis, meaning that you already had a foreshadowing of whatever is happening over the next 18 months. So, for example, for me, I went to New York City for a single night. I played in a film that one of my friends directed and did an amazing job of. I'm so proud of her. It's called Magdalena Te Amo. And I will link her in the description so that you can find the film when she, distributes it. But I went for the premiere and for the after party at Rosewood Theater in Manhattan, New York, one of the clubs that I dance at. And so, for example, take a look at your phone. What was happening during that time? It gives you a little foreshadowing of what might unfold over the next 18 months. Then I want you to answer, what area of life does Virgo light up in my life? And we're really going to answer that today, but do adhere to, just to make your life easier. This is my Virgo rising speaking to you. So if you want to have organized reflection, you don't need to. You never need to do that. But it does help you reach awareness more fully, is my best way to say that. And then what area of life does Pisces light up in your life? We did that last season or last season. We did that in the last video with the Pisces eclipse, but just repeat it here for yourself. And then what is your eclipse story this season? So basically, based on all of these questions, what do you think that the universe is telling you is in the book, right? What do you read from that little synopsis on the book cover and the book jacket? So you'll want to write that down. Okay, before we move on, I wore snake skin for a reason because I need to talk about Year of the Snake. Because while talking about the moon is really important with signs, we have a lot of knowledge about the moon outside of, Western culture. And we also have like Lunar New Year's. So this year we are in Year of the Snake, which is all about shedding and transformation. Um, of course, because a snake sheds its skin, and if a snake does not shed its skin, it dies. So it's really vital for a snake's health to shed its skin. So I want to give you some information that I also think is really helpful. So I wanted to talk about the stages of a snake shedding its skin. To help you navigate and kind of like know in the cycle where you are. So I do find that it does change slightly for each person depending on when your birthday is within that lunar year. Um, Strangely enough, my my birthday was the first day of the year of the snake. So it's really interesting. I would take a look at what you did on January 29th of this year. Um, It could be around that time, but basically, what were you doing in January, especially the end, that might have been something that resembles a snake raking its dead skin off the top of its head? And I know that sounds really weird, but here's why. So, in the process of shedding skin, a snake will first find something hard and will rub its head against um, the hard or rough surface in order to break um, a part of the dead skin. So what ends up happening is it like breaks open the skin so that the snake can start to crawl out and it starts at its head. So what I did on January 29th was I was hosting in New York City at Rosewood Theater for The Awakening that we hosted at Rosewood Theater. So, looking at everything in hindsight, it really just shows a really cool, beautiful example of the next 18 months. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are becoming aware and awakened to information that helps them navigate life in a more conscious way. And I think that that was definitely a beautiful sign of that, looking at it in hindsight. So, whatever it is for you that you were doing during that time, take that as a sign, take that as a foreshadowing of, what is to come. So, what happens next after the snake tears a part of its skin on its head so that it can shed that skin? Is it ripples its muscles to move that dead skin down. It basically wants the dead skin off. So it's shedding that skin. Think of that as probably this past summer. So probably end of spring through end of summer as we're getting into the fall. This was that time where you probably had to put a lot of internal focus on that shedding. It was probably really difficult. You probably had phases where you felt stuck. Um, However, you should be at a stage if you are doing the work where that skin is at your tail. So we only have like 3 or so months left of Year of the Snake. Can you believe it? So this is the time where that last bit of skin is going to be leaving you, and you're going to be tasked with surrendering it, right? Like actually leaving the dead skin behind because we're heading into Year of the Horse. And that's my year. So I'm really excited for that. So if you are a person that is Year of the Snake, if you're a snake person, this year is probably so challenging for you, but it is so worth it. Look at the other side. Um, it's only going to get better, baby. So enjoy. All right. So this eclipse season, again, we already had the foreshadowing. We're moving through this, and we're going to be in this eclipse axis until February of 2027. So again, this is a long healing cycle. Enjoy. Um, I think that this is going to be really revealing for us, especially for those who are starting with me right now. Um, because I think we're going to learn a lot by observing what's happening to us and within us over the next 18 months. And of course, this could truly only really begin to unfold in a Virgo Pisces axis because we have the research organization and the unseen is like right in front of us with Pisces. So, all right. If you want to take a look at this slide, if you need any of these questions over on this side, go ahead, take some time to do what you need. Otherwise, please move forward with me because we have a lot to accomplish, friend. So this is our meditative activity today. So it is watering the self. So your meditation today is going to be focused on our connection with wisdom and water. So what you will need is you will need a vessel of water, literally a vessel of water. Pick your poison. Don't pick this because you want to water yourself. You're not watering your plant. And you're going to want a spoken blessing. If you want to amplify this for the energy that we're in right now, this would be a blessing that's related to Mercury and Venus that makes sense for you. So, for example, you might want to look, if you're really advanced, this is where you're going to look at where Mercury and Venus is in your chart. For example, my Mercury is in Capricorn. So if I'm speaking a blessing for myself, I want my words to drive action, for example. That's just me off the top of my head. If I'm talking about my Venus is in Pisces. I want it to be I want my words to be filled with love, right? And empathy. So if I want to bless my water, right? I'm going to be speaking a blessing that has to do with uh, anything that has to do with Mercury and Venus. Why? Because this decan that we are in is ruled by the planets of Mercury and Venus. So those energies are just going to be more amplified during this time. So here's how I would love for you to do this, but you can do it however you want. During your meditation, allow yourself to receive the words to speak a blessing for yourself. What I want you to do is to set a timer for 29 minutes, and I want you to sit in darkness. So I'm going to do this probably, I'm probably really going to do this right before the sun comes out on the day of exactation. So you do it when you want, but to me, I was born on January 29th. This transit is happening on 29 degrees, just as we're moving into 29 degrees of Virgo. Um, and 29th was also the beginning of Year of the Snake. So I have a lot of energy in the number 29. So um, the reason why I've put it here is because we are in 29 degrees of Virgo. So I want you to spend your 29 minutes in relation to that. So you really feel that numerology blessing, which is a blessing of an opening. So some opening is presenting itself. And of course it is. It is the new moon. So what I'm going to have you do is set a timer for 29 minutes and spend those 29 minutes in darkness, in meditation. I would suggest having it be silent. Virgo to me would really love like to be in nature and to hear the the world around them. So if you have the option of being outside, I highly recommend it. Um, and when during your meditation, I would love if you set the intention to allow yourself to receive the words to speak the blessing for yourself. And then when you emerge from that meditation, when your timer goes off or whenever you're done, and you have decided on a blessing, take your time to like formulate it. Spend time speaking that blessing over your water 3 times. The number 3 here is important for communication, so that's why I've picked the number 3. Then drink from this vessel, and when you sip or harness this energy, repeat your blessing 3 times. So if you have Eclipse water, you can use that, but you can use any water. So when you drink, when you sip, or when you harness the energy, meaning let's say you decided to use this to clean your home, for example, um, repeat the same blessing 3 times. So after you've decided on it, you've spoken it, make sure you write it down. And you don't have to, because some of the best things are never have to be written. They're just shared in story form, right? So I wanted to also say with Eclipse water, one of these waters I'm going to be keeping for the longevity of this eclipse season. And the other one I'm going to be using and enjoying and harnessing and then refilling over the next 18 months. So if that's something that you would like to do also, you're welcome to join me in that, is to have a vessel of water that you bring with you to any moon circles or charging that you want to do under the eclipse season. Okay. Thank you. That is all I needed to say about this. If you want to take a picture of this, screenshot, or write this down, please do. Otherwise, let's move forward. So on your side of the page that had your Piscean release, that first question I gave you in the beginning, what did you release under that full moon eclipse? Talk about release. I love that. Okay, prompt number 2 is a Virgo blessing. What harvest do I wish to call in for future me? So as you sit in the feelings of right now and what you want the end of this story to look like, what is the harvest that you want to call in for that future you, right? You have this book in front of you where you've taken a peek at the beginning, you've taken a peek at the end, and you're gonna get to experience the unfolding of this story. What do you want to call in for yourself? And you might want to look at the foreshadowing that we had last fall. Is there something there that the universe is asking you to pick up and hold in your hands and see how that blessing feels? And if you want that, to call it in. So go ahead, take a moment and write this answer down. You can stay here longer or feel free to move forward with me. This is our third and final question. If I love myself fully, what do I want to be sure to make time to enjoy? If I love myself fully, what do I want to be sure to make time to enjoy? This is your expression of love question. So think of this as if I'm giving myself the gift of my own love, right? If I'm giving myself such a gift, what do I want to make sure I make time to enjoy? If I'm giving that gift of time to myself, because that's one of the biggest gifts you can give to yourself is your own time, your own energy, your own love. You can stay on this slide if you need it longer. Otherwise, let's talk about themes. So we saw these themes in the previous new moon that we did. I'll just go over them really quickly. If you feel like you know, go ahead and take notes. Basically, what we're doing in this part is with any themes, just for the next couple of slides that I'm going to show you, if there's any themes that really resonate with you during this time of your life, like things you're going through, just jot them down. Just make like a little list. So, earthly connection and harvest, practicality, detail-oriented, organization and order, meticulous, duality. Think of the maiden and the vixen, right? So some duality, two facets that are part of the same um, entity, but different faces, right? Um, health and wellness, loyalty, reliability, analytics, service, not only service to self, but service to others and to your community, editing and writing, perfectionism and anxiety, all the Virgos have it, purity, hardworking, systematic structures, communication, and problem solving. And really quickly, I want to touch base on that first one, earthly connection and harvest. When I think of Virgo, I always think of like a cornucopia filled with amazing jewels of nature, right? Um, that is that question, right? That Virgo blessing. What is the blessing that you want to call in for yourself? If you're giving yourself that cornucopia at the end of this 18 months, what is it going to be filled with? And of course, you can stay here if you want the themes longer, or please move forward because we must talk about the Decan. This is, to me, the most exciting part of this new moon eclipse is getting to see that little bit of the end of the chapter. So, as I mentioned, this is happening at 28 degrees, 59 minutes. I've seen like a couple of people put a different minute, but everybody is rounding it to being 29 degrees in Virgo. This Decan, 29 degrees in Virgo. I'm so excited. This is the final degree of Virgo because each sign has 30 degrees within it. So we are just getting into that final degrees of Virgo. Notice, right, if you have 30 degrees, that 29th degree is going to be really interesting to observe. So, you know, if you're somebody who likes to look ahead and plan, this is a really good time to this observe and notice, okay? We are in the third decan of Virgo, so this is ruled by Mercury and Venus, as I mentioned earlier. Things that are associated with this decan, having a very sharp mind. What is going to sharpen your mind even more? Perfection, research, organization, natural disasters. Why? This is because this area and this decan is ruled by Earth in the underworld. So think of it as the reckoning of the underworld upon Earth. Like what is the shadows that we're not healing as a collective consciousness, and how is the Earth responding to that? What is, I don't want to say punishment, but what is the punishment? Because I am going to say it. What is the punishment that the Earth is trying to bring us to notice, right? It's not necessarily a punishment in the same way that it is like a spanking to get us to become aware, right? Think of like all of the natural disasters we've seen recently with wildfires. Like, what is the earth telling us? It's telling us we're not treating the earth well, that we're causing a lot of problems for the earth. And if we don't wake up to that, it's going to cause more natural disasters. It's just part of this decant. So I just need to note that. Along with this is black and white. Now remember, all of these things can be positive and negative, right? The positivity in a natural disaster is an awakening. The negativity is the hurt, the pain, the trauma that comes with a natural disaster. Black and white. What is nice about black and white? It's organized. You can like put everything in its little box. What's not good, it doesn't allow for flexibility. It's too rigid, right? Some things don't fit in black and white. That's why there's gray. So remember to not be too rigid at the same time, because rigidity is also a Decan theme that's coming up here. With worry and skepticism, something that is being prompted for all of us, and this is particularly for myself, is nervous system regulation. So how can we regulate our own nervous system when we are in a state of panic, right? We're at that 29 degrees of Virgo, which is the crisis point degree. So if we're facing crisis, what do we do in order to, how do we regulate our own nervous system, right? In order to move through that? How do we heal the body when trauma comes to it, right? How do we have a balanced mind? We don't want to be over logical because Virgo is a very logic driven uh, sign. How do we maintain balance for the mind, right? And then 10 of Pentacles comes up here, which is, if you know the uh, tarot archetypes and symbolism, 10 of Pentacles is about abundance. It's about legacy. So if we're looking at this story, right, you're at the beginning of an 18th month story. And the story at the end would love to end with the 10 of Pentacles, right? How do we um, move ourselves through life in the next 18 months to bring the ending of this part of the book? How do we come to that end uh, mindfully and consciously and with a growth mindset? Here's a cautionary note that comes with this, especially this Decan. Be cautious of energy vampires. So people who want to drain your energy and are not giving back to you, you can tell the difference because when you leave that person's energy, you feel down, you feel drained. Versus if you spend time with somebody who wants to give back to you, wants to make sure that you're taken care of because you're taking care of them, um, feed those relationships, right? And then clean your vessel to protect your aura. Something that is really good for Virgos is going to be water. So you can do showering, right? Where you're intentionally showering with that intention to wash any negative energy that you've accumulated throughout your life and to set protection for yourself as you exit that shower and return back to whatever part of your life might be draining or difficult or challenging. So, Virgos, please use water. Don't just think about cleaning for external, think about it internally. Water helps you clean your entire system inside. So, speaking those blessings over the water and drinking them, your body will thank you. Make sure to protect your aura in many ways, whatever that means, including spending less time with people who are energetically draining. I just needed to make sure to say that. Let's go ahead and move forward. So this is the part where we get to zoom in. So if you have your natal chart, the little circle chart, this is mine over here. One of the things that we do in these asynchronous videos is I'm trying to teach you slowly and over time to be able to read your own chart and understand your connection to the universe and what the universe wants for you, especially like that moon energy, which is to me always about healing and coming back to self. So, what you will need to have your own natal chart if you don't have that, you can use Time Passages. It is a free app, but you can also use Astro Cafe. I will do a really good job of remembering future self to put that in the description so you can just find those easily. But Time Passages is my favorite. Uh, it is free to make your own circle chart. So, you'll need your birth date, your birthplace, and your birth time. And I think I said this in a previous video, but I really want to say it right now because we're about this. I'm going to be referring back to this video over the next 18 months. So we need to say it here. When you are born, you are a beautiful snapshot of what the energy of the universe was and looked like and feels like the moment that you're born. The energy is different, right? Depending on where you are, what time of day it is, and what day it is. That's why it is so interesting to meet new people because you're meeting different facets of the universe that have been birthed at different times, right? So basically what your chart is it's a picture of what the universe looked like. And because we have been studying astrology for so long, we are now at a point where we can start to understand what beings are, how their energy is, depending on where certain planetary entities were in the sky at any given time from any given location on any given date. So we get this really cool opportunity to really understand ourselves really completely and then have this really beautiful roadmap to help us heal over time if we're consciously aware of it. Now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about what you're looking at. So on your circle chart, it looks like a little pizza pie. You'll see 12 slices inside, and then you have a crust all around the circle, and they have numbers. Some of you, if you're not using time passages, will have one that has an arrow pointing somewhere. That's telling you where your first house is so that you know where your rising sign is. So my rising sign is Virgo. That is why I'm looking at the first house and the 12th house. So whatever area of your chart Virgo is ruled by, here denoted by the color green because it is an earth sign. What you're going to want to do is take a look at what numbers are there. So I have the first house and the 12th house. So in my first house, this is where self-identity and new beginnings are. So I've already done this, but I would write this down. And this is going to go with the eclipse questions I gave you. So what area of your chart lights up under Virgo? These are the answers for that question. Okay. So for me, self-identities, new beginnings, how I identify myself, how I identify to the world around me. And here are the other houses. So whatever numbers you wrote down, you're going to want to write the themes of that house. Some of you might only have one houses. Your chart might be just super organized. The way mine is each of my signs bridges two houses. So if you need this slide, you can stay on it longer, but I'm going to take us to the houses 7 through 12. So here's the 12th house. I'm in house 1 and house 12. It bridges both of those, which is spirituality, the subconscious, letting go. So these are all of the puzzle pieces you'll need. If you need any of the other houses here, you can stay here as long as you need. But we have what we need, so we're going to move forward to the celestial connection. So these are all the puzzle pieces for this eclipse new moon. So just make sure you all have them on a piece of paper in front of you. The Piscean surrender. What did you recently surrender under the Piscean full moon eclipse? Your Virgo blessing. What harvest do I wish to call in for future me? Expression of love. If I love myself fully, what do I want to be sure to make time to enjoy? And then Virgo houses, Virgo themes, and the Virgo Decan. What themes seem to be emerging most prominently for you? This is also where you might want to narrow your answer or notice what it seems to be saying overall. And I say that because I am somebody who writes so extra. Like I want to put as many things on the list that I really feel called to put. But many of the things on my list fall under one bigger word, right? So I would simplify that to the bigger word. All right. Now we get to do the fun part. Oh, sorry. If you need this longer, you can stay here. Otherwise, let's do the fun part, okay? We're going to write our intention. So we just did that reflection. Now we're going to put it all into sentence format. So you're just going to plug your answers into these little blanks. And then I have an extra one. This, you'll know what to put there whenever you're meant to put it. You could even leave this blank and do it the next eclipse, for example, just because you might not reflect in the same way that I do, and you might need more time. So if you feel like you want more time, take more time. Um, I feel like mine came out really fast. So here's how the sentence reads. As I navigate the next 18 months, I am prompted to surrender so that I make clear space for, during this opportunity to elevate area of life, I intend to move towards filling my life with more. PS to future self, please, so we can be successful in our healing objective. So I'm going to read you mine. This is what I ended up writing. As I navigate the next 18 months, I am prompted to surrender doubt so that I may clear space for freedom, relaxation, and stability that empowers me to make room for love. During this opportunity to elevate my overall health, I intend to move towards filling my life with more freedom, relaxation, time with Luna, and time in love. P.S. To future self, please do shadow work so we can be successful in our healing objective. That was my response. I would love to hear yours. So if you feel called to share in the comments, I would love it because it means that we can learn together. What I found from the last full moon that we did was that I was really impressed by how the answers really lined up for the questions. Like it was almost uncanny to hear people's responses because if you remember, under the full moon in Pisces, if you watch that video, I took people to Bubble Park and we did like the moon activity over a walk. And it was really cool to see how people's answers just like made so much sense for their intention. Okay, if you need the slide longer, you can stay here. Um, but I'm going to move us forward. And I wanted to say that PS from past self, I wrote this part or this prompt to be whatever it is that you hear when exaltation happens. But you can put something here, like I did, and then notice what happens then and then make it more specific. This part, that PS for future self, we're going to allow that to evolve over time. So you don't need it to be rigid, right? We don't need it to be rigid. Just give yourself something for now. And if you don't have anything, leave it blank. We can handle it later. It's not a huge like must do right now. And I want to make sure to say that so you don't hang your coat up on reflection because you don't have this answer yet. It'll probably happen to you when you are in the anaretic degree of Virgo, that 29 degrees. Okay, let's talk about the next full moon. It is going to be in Aries. So this is happening on October 6th. It is on a Monday. If you're on the Pacific coast, it's happening at 8:48 p.m. So when we are doing the full moon beach burn circle, it is going to be happening during that time. So please come join us if you are on the West Coast. We are looking to expand and have a full moon circle on the East Coast as well. So it's not together yet, but it's on the way. If you are on the East Coast, though, you will reach exaltation for this full moon in Aries at 11:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a good time for charging moon water, of course, crystal charging. Candle just went out. Ritual release and altar work. It is happening in Aries at 14 degrees and 8 minutes. So this is going to be is it our first full moon in Aries since we had the healing axis shift, I think. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes up under this full moon. But please enjoy this new moon in Virgo eclipse energy, and I will see you again as we get closer to October. You are wonderful, so, so loved. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining me and being on this journey with me as we are learning about healing and moons together. Because really, that is what we're doing. Like, I do this work on my own, but haven't, besides with friends, really put this out to other people. So this is a learning experience for me also, always. Everything I do is a learning experience for me. Let me be clear about that. Um, so that's why I always ask you to share your intentions because that lets me see how this is working. Uh, I love you. You're amazing. You are the rainbow in the sky that when people see it, they are so filled with magic. So remember to look at yourself like you are a rainbow to be admired. I love you. You're absolutely incredible. Bye. See, I put my waters under my money tree so I can collect energy under the next eclipse.